For the longest time, I thought Congress can't be that dumb. However, they just might be. Now, today I want to address a report, a leaked report that came out just recently. And I want to really touch on this because this is what we have been all waiting for. This report, what we are seeing, what we are hearing. This is something that many people have been expecting for the past almost 3 years. And now we are finally getting the answers. But look at this.
The pandemic is over. Joe Biden has said so. I don't know why he's waiting until May to do something about it, but the pandemic is over. It's time for the federal government to get back to the work. It's far past time for the policies of the federal government to reflect this reality and the policies of hardworking Americans, and for federal employees to show up and get the job done. In my district, the Bureau of Land Management headquarters was a hot topic of debate because this administration's, one of their first actions, they wanted to take that from my district and move it back to Washington, D.C. But why so haste? Why so fast to do this? No one's going to work. The building is empty. They didn't have anywhere to bring the employees to a new building here. And in fact, the employees that they did relocate to Washington, D.C., still only show up to work 1 day a week. And according to one disturbing report by the Federal Times, just 1 in 3 federal workers has returned to their full-time job.
Hold up. So 1 out of every 3 workers has returned to their full-time job. That's crazy. That is crazy when we the people were told to go back to work in 2020. Yeah. We were told to go back to work, not, hey, don't worry, take some time off. You don't gotta come into the office, get back to work. That's what we were told in 2020. We were told that in 2021. We've been told that in 2022. And now we're getting reports in 2023 to get back to work. No, we don't need to stay home. Get back to the office. We have to fill the office. That's crazy. And even in 2020 and 2021, guess what? Benefits were cut. We saw reduction to unemployment benefits. We saw our pay for many people. If you didn't go back to the office, guess what? You got a pay cut. And now the federal government's giving out our tax money to federal employees. It's interesting. But again, in 2020 and 2021, employers were having to give out stimulus money. They were using stimulus money to entice workers to get back to work. And yet the federal government, almost 3 years later, is just taking their sweet time. How crazy is that?
A leaked memo from January 2021 to then Chief of Staff of the Department of Health and Human Services showed that between 20 and 30% of the department's employees did not log into work on any given day between March and December of 2020.
So 20 to 30% of the employees from the Department of Health and Human Services, they didn't log any hours. They didn't go into work for March through December. That's 10 months. 10 months. Wouldn't that have been nice? Where we could take 10 months off, stay home, sleep in, watch the news, right? Not have to worry about all the other stuff going on in the world, and we could just take it easy. That would have been great. That's interesting.
This negatively impacts all of our constituents. The VA has been incredibly slow to fulfill records requests that our veterans can get the care that they need, the care that they deserve. The Social Security Administration faces a massive backlog of appeals.
Now she goes on to talk about the IRS being behind and being backlogged by 2.5 million tax returns, unprocessed tax returns. She also talks about a little bit of Social Security and obviously the VA. But what's interesting, when Lauren Boebert, she starts addressing this stuff, right? Now, I show the date. It's from February 1st, okay? So a couple days ago. The reason why that date is so important is because after she said these things, and after all the news stations started blasting this and putting it all over their sites and on their stations, what happened was we started to get more reports. Okay, a lot more reports. For example, the IRS is not the only government agency that's behind, that's backlogged. So is Social Security. So is Medicare. Both backlogged. Now, and I didn't think this was as bad as it was, but it is. According to reports, the Social Security offices, they are behind in processing. They're just very slow. And if you need to call because you want to get a question answered, you want a prompt response, guess what? They're slow there too. They're very slow to respond all across the board, everywhere. And is it because workers are not back at work? Is this why? Well, we'll find out soon, because Republicans, they are going to get on this. They're going to figure out, why are things so slow? Why are we paying out to these federal employees if they are not going back to work? What are we doing? And here's the big question. This is the question I've seen all across the internet. If we were not spending this money on people that are not going into work, then could we use this money to shore up Social Security and Medicare, and we can just move on, and we can ensure that those two things are not going to become insolvent in the next 5 to 10 years? Potentially. Or, here's another one, because the debt ceiling is a big question mark that's hanging over everybody's head. The next question is, could we use this money to put distance between our current debt situation and the debt ceiling? Could we do that? And the answer, according to many reports, is yes. Yes, we could. Now, keep in mind that all these things are happening because the public health emergency that, again, it's not President Biden that first started this. The public health emergency was started, I believe, on January 30th, 2020. That was under former President Donald Trump. Now, every 90 days, this has been extended. And according to President Biden, he said earlier this week that this will end on May 11th, 2023. So, if we see that we are not getting anywhere, if we see there's still a lot of issues, some people are saying it's probably because workers are just not going back to work. And they're going to wait until the middle of May, and then they will return. So, we'll see what goes on. But what I can tell you is I will be here every step of the way. I will fill you in. As soon as we get more reports, I will let you know what is going on and fill you in on all the latest news. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.